There we go. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast, everyone.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, there was an episode of Survivor.
You mean
Um,
half an episode?
yeah, I do want to say, so I was watching it live, and we didn't even get to any strategy talk till 40 minutes into the episode.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just that was like and we've also stated I do not like the family visits.
yeah. When I saw
Um,
that was kind of like a surprise thing, I was like, oh, I know what we're gonna be talking about for this one.
yeah.
And then, admittedly, because I like it, but this time around it was too much.
It was way too much. This was family overload.
This
Um,
was, you see, it's part of the reason why they wait until like final at least 8 or 7, somewhere around that ballpark,
yeah.
because at that time frame, like, oh, we can get through everyone, all the loved ones, and then boom, go straight to the challenge, and there's still time. But with this, it was like, now, with this, it was like everyone, everyone. And I think it was nice, but it was way too much. It was literally half the episode.
Yeah, exactly. And like something like this should not be more than 10 minutes. Like this is we do not need to have an entire episode dedicated to this. And because of that, it made kind of the tribal council just so chaotic because we didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, I was going
Things were just happening and we weren't able to be informed about it because we didn't have the time to do it.
exactly. Because like going into because as soon as like everything on Edge of Extinction ended, because even they got to see their loved ones too, which I can understand if they're flying everyone out for this, they don't know who's going to be on what. Makes sense ish to have everyone there, but like we went straight from Edge of Extinction right into the Immunity Challenge. So we don't know where anyone's headspace is at. It literally started off with this and it ended with this for the first half of the show. And then we went straight to the challenge where we don't know where alliances may be lying or anything like that. So it was
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, so what's happening?
Yeah, this was just. I hope that Survivor doesn't do this again, where
I feel like
everyone
it
gets
won't.
the yeah. Well, and it also benefit like hinders it even more the fact that we didn't. It wasn't just everyone had one person out there. They had their families out there. Like,
Which which I get it.
uh,
I thought it was an interesting thing that they had like multiple people, but the fact that that was all it was, and and I would say the highlight of it for me was seeing like Tyson be that goofball dad thing, like that
mhm,
little thing where he's showing his daughter around the office, like, hey,
yeah.
that's the ocean, that's my bathtub.
Yeah, no, Tyson was great in this episode as well. But it's really hard to redeem pacing of this magnitude.
Yeah, this episode it went straight from all this. I feel like this was something where honestly they should have made this maybe like special episode, as in like a special not following the actual episode, kind of like a bonus thing, kind of like the behind the scenes stuff.
The secret scene stuff, yeah.
Yeah, or like how Survivor used to do a thing where they had one episode where it was like deleted scenes, things like that. Of
Uh,
they usually like they dedicated like one episode out of it, but this is also back when there was fewer people on the show at a single season. So yeah, when I was going through this episode, like I was like, wow, they are going, they're taking it up. I try my best not to look at like the timestamp of where I am at the episode,
Hmm.
But I saw myself doing that a lot with the loved ones thing.
Yeah. I made a conscious decision to look at the clock pretty much right when we got back from our first commercial break, and we were still going on about family stuff, and then they went to Edge of Extinction and
Or
gave
family.
them family. Everyone
It,
got family in this episode.
I mean, there's not, other than that, there wasn't really too much to say about it. It was like,
Yeah.
it, you know, it, I thought it was nice for them, good for them. It was a good little celebration for all the people, but I don't know, like it's kind of like fundamental thing about like what makes a good story, conflict.
Hmm.
There wasn't really any conflict the first half of this episode.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It made the payoff of the episodes not really there.
yeah,
Like it wasn't earned. Like, and the thing is Tyson. Even though he was already voted out, he deserved a an earned vote out. This was just it happens.
well, I feel because here's the tricky thing when you try and do either a double elimination episode or something like this, where it's loved ones. Well, I mean, with the loved ones taking up literally half the episode, it does kind of distract from, like who gets voted off. Like,
Mhm.
it kind of cheapens their vote off in a way. Like, in double eliminations, it's like, oh, these two people, they got voted off in this same episode. It's not just their vote off, it's like both of them, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, going straight to the immunity challenge, I will say the fact that Tony won that was
Yes.
self-admittedly saying, like, that's not his playing style at all. He's not a patient, steady guy. He's rough and all over the place.
Hmm. And
He
it
rushes.
really shows that his game right now is what he was saying back then. Even though that we see him all still always having that Tony edge to him, he still is able to be calm and under pressure and not be trying to make anything go too fast right now.
I mean, right now it does kind of look like he's the guy in charge. He doesn't
Yeah,
really have anybody.
yeah. Which
Yeah.
I gotta say, this episode, if Tony's getting his Kaguya winner's edit, this episode like showcased it.
I mean, I feel like, well, I mean, when it comes to the stuff, when it comes to, I know I'm repeating the same things twice. Uh, when when it comes to them having a leadership role early on in the merge, because merge aesthetically is still a little early-ish,
Mhm.
midway. It's always like weird to gauge the merge, seeing how like in the finale it's like 6 people.
Mhm.
Um, but the leaders, they get targeted pretty soon, and he's still, if not the biggest threat, one of them out there. Like
Mhm.
him and Jeremy, and Sophie, biggest threats out there right now. And
Mhm.
so like he's people are gonna gun for him because it looks like oh, he's in charge. He's usually people are coming to him, and like he just never seemed like he was the main target in the any of the travels he's been to.
So would you say him winning immunity actually was not good for him? Because now he's like everyone now in the back of the mind is like, oh yeah, we do need to get rid of Tony now.
I feel like maybe it did. I mean, sometimes you just have to get through one more vote, which is why I kind of respect. I'm not happy with Jeremy's decision, but if I was in his shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. Where
Um,
um
yeah.
where it's like sometimes you just need to get through one more, round, and that can
Mhm.
totally change the game in any game.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't blame Jeremy because this was the last time he was allowed to use that advantage. Um, and he even if he was there, it wouldn't have helped anyone.
Because with the steal a vote, the
Yeah.
only thing the only thing is we talking since there isn't really too much to talk about this episode. Um, everyone was, like we went straight to the whispering. And then, Survivor Insanity, I think is the official term now.
Yeah,
Um,
and oh man, this just seems like this is the end of the whispering. They need to pull it back.
I feel that because I think when Ben was like, "All right, the five of us, let's go over there. We're gonna talk." Um, that was kind of like them shutting up the whispering, because the whispering, especially this late in the game, everyone's doing it. It, I feel, yeah, it's starting to become a staple where I feel like it's one of those things where I kind of want to see it every so often, not
Mhm.
necessarily every single episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
well the thing is it's more exciting television if someone has to in front of everyone say how they're feeling and how they are wanting to play the game instead of just being like, well, actually, I'm going to go have these small conversations with other people and we're not really going to inform the audience what is happening because we did not get a lot of dialogue from the contestants. Like during all this, it was very much just like we just saw them huddling and whispering.
yeah, it's with this episode, it just came to like, you know, because they didn't really, because Jeff, he does ask specific questions, and
Mhm.
obviously, them at Tribal, it lasting longer than it is like than what we see. We do see people come, kind of like say some revealing stuff, and then see where their headspaces are at. And sometimes we just get, crazy moments when they're just talking to Jeff. I feel Jeff,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like this too. He was like, yeah, I guess I'm just here. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, like he used to be like the thing that you want to go to the tribal council for. Like you get to be with Jeff Probst and he gets to talk to you. Like that was the thing, was to talk with Jeff Probst. And now, like you don't really want to talk to Jeff Probst. You want to whisper.
just talk, whispering, whispering, more whispering.
Yeah,
Um,
like I feel if I went out to Survivor personally, um of obviously like if a bunch of people are whispering and I feel unsafe, I would have done it. But I would try to limit myself to like a one whisper in the season.
yeah, I
Because
feel
at least because then that would be like I could be like that was my moment where I knew I had to change the game. But now that everyone's doing it, it's just like, well, that's just what you're doing now.
yeah, and it's been the same way since like last episode too. We saw it a lot last season. Like ever since really started taking notice, it becoming an actual thing since like Game Changers, where whispers just they like I said, I feel like it's been happening this season more so than others. I
Hmm.
guess because everyone is paranoid because everyone is afraid of everyone else. Um, in a lot
Yeah.
of
And I think we gotta also say game changers. Why are we listening to that cast in how to play the game with the whispering? Like it's like they weren't the greatest cast of players in that season. All the good ones kind of went off right away. I don't think we should be listening to that group of Survivor players in how we should be moving forward in this game.
well, I mean, like I said, I like Sarah a lot. I think
Yeah,
she's
yeah, yeah. She's fine. The thing is, she's fine, but she's like, imagine if on episode one, if someone told you the final three was going to be Sarah, Brad Culpepper, and Troyzan. That is like the worst final three combination I could think of. Like, and
it
then
definitely.
it's better than it sounds, but it's still not great.
Admittedly, yeah, Troyzan was not the was not. Wait, Troyzan was in game. Oh yeah, he was.
That's see exactly. Like he
Well, I
was
mean,
there.
because sometimes, because I remember, um, sometimes, admittedly, it doesn't help that they were pretty close to each other too. Sometimes I mix up Game Changers and Second Chance because
Mhm.
it's all-star seasons that happen around the same time.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of the people that weren't chosen for
Second chance got put
made it
on
to
Game
game.
Changers.
Case in point, Culpepper and
Yeah.
Troyzan.
Troyzan, who both end up going to the final three.
Yeah. No, Troyzan, yeah, he just did not earn his spot there.
No,
He was the
he would literally come into an episode, throw some little one-liner, and then be gone for the rest of the episode.
yeah. I mean,
So
he, he went far in the game. He got a good
yeah. Well,
some good back.
at least he knew. He straight up said at Final Tribal like, "Hey, I'm out. You know, thanks for letting me fulfill my Survivor dreams."
Making it 39 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, um, the standoff between Jeremy and Sarah, I can kind of understand where they were coming from. Where because let's say Sarah used her like steal a vote on Jeremy,
Hmm.
I think that would have been like, oh okay, steal a vote. Now I don't have a vote, and then it would cancel out hers. Granted, don't think it would have made too much of a difference. What it
Hmm.
really boiled down to Tyson getting voted off was they used the idol on the wrong person, and the strategy behind it was really good in the sense of like so typically when there's a steal a vote, the person that they steal a vote from is usually the target, and so it's like it was clever on like Sarah's part. Oh, Denise. So like everyone is worried that oh Denise is going home. She doesn't have a vote. She's defenseless. And then that little like psychology is like oh I'm gonna play the idol for Denise. Um,
Hmm.
However, after all of this, I couldn't help but remember that someone else had on that bottom alliance had an idol. Well, they had a 50-50 shot of an idol.
Yeah. So the thing is a lot of people are saying that Michelle was the mole in this whole scenario. Um, because what happened was it was a 5-2-2 votes. Uh,
Yeah, wondering if it was
and
probably
which equals 7, and a lot of people are saying Michelle was the mole in this whole thing, that she wasn't actually in that minority, she was actually working both sides with Nick.
fair enough. I guess it's tough in the sense of like with when it comes to um when it comes to them separating and stuff, it's still hard to say like yeah, because well I mean with Michelle, game has not been her social game has been good for the most part, but strategy wise, it hasn't really been all there.
Hmm.
Um, and so when it comes to like five people hurling out and stuff, and putting faith in those five people, or it's like oh let's just get rid of this person instead. I guess it's trickier. I feel with all these whisperings and stuff, I'm surprised we don't get people with multiple votes on different people.
Yeah.
Like more with how bizarre and crazy and how everything changes. Um,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
so
So do you want to hear what the votes who voted for who?
yeah,
Okay, so Ben voted for Tyson. Uh, Denise got her vote stolen, so that doesn't count. Kim, and Jeremy left. So Kim voted for Sophie, and so did Tyson. And then everyone who voted for Tyson was Ben, Michelle, Nick, Sarah, and Tony. And
ah,
then yeah, Sarah put one vote on Tyson and one vote on Denise. So they were able to split the vote. So even if uh Kim played the idol correctly, someone would still go home from that minority.
Actually, no, because
Why?
let's say Michelle, because Denise had 2 votes, Sophie had 2 votes.
Hmm.
The 2 votes would go to them. There's no way they can do a tie. There, it wouldn't go even because there's only 9 people at tribal, so it would be like, you know,
Well,
basically it would.
everyone who voted for Tyson just then votes on Denise, or who was it?
Denise, Sophie.
Sophie. Yeah.
I don't know. Because usually it's when it comes to a revote, they usually discuss a little bit, right? Maybe do some bartering.
Hmm.
So potentially it could have swung in their favor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
wait, if Kim played her idol on Tyson, that means the majority would be taken out, and then it would be Denise and Sophie, and Denise is in the minority of that, so Denise would have gone home.
yeah, I think we both know I would much prefer Denise to go home than Tyson.
Well, yeah, I understand that. But I also like Denise, and I'm happy that I get to see her on my screen still. Because I feel like Tyson's coming back for one more season, right? Like he's gonna have a retirement season at some point, but I don't think this is it.
Well, I mean, we still have one more chance of, getting back from Edge of Extinction. Do I think it's very likely? Like I said earlier, it's much more hard to do it at, right before finale time as opposed to right before merge time because
Yeah.
there's more people. Um,
And honestly, you do lose, in my opinion, some respect, especially with this jury, because I know this jury does not like Edge of Extinction, especially going into it. And so if he becomes the two-time returnee who then makes it to the final, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard sell for Tyson.
would it though?
I think it would.
No,
It's
because
what?
no, because look at it this way. He got voted off twice
Yeah,
and he
that's a
still
bad
made
thing.
it. What?
That's a bad thing. If like
It,
I think
it,
once you get voted off, I really think that that tarnishes any chance of you being a winner. Like I know Chris Underwood did it, but they have gone on record saying that they do not like that Chris Underwood was the winner.
true, but I feel with this one, it feels like Tyson played more of a. I used prominent role loosely because like he was voted out. I wouldn't say early, but he was voted out like mid pre-merge, and he's voted out like
Yeah.
roughly a little bit early, you know, post merge.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the thing of because the thing is he's going to get back into the game. If he gets back into the game, uh and he was able to get enough fire tokens to get an idol. He wins one immunity, plays an idol, wins fire, and it's just like that's not playing Survivor.
I mean, but at the same time, all right. If we go back to not Redemption Island, but South
And,
Pacific,
yeah.
where Ozzy um,
Mhm.
made it so far into the game, where he came back from Redemption Island twice,
Yeah.
made it
What
pretty far.
one of them was a strategic move though. I will say one of those was a strategic move to get
Is
rid of Christine. Uh and I still do not like the fact that Ozzy was almost the winner. But
I,
he would have won that season 100%. If he won that final immunity, he wins that season, and it's like not even a contest. Uh, but it's very different in execution, in my opinion. There's a lot more strategy went on, and he won literally every Redemption Island thing, and it was a thing of he was constantly having to prove himself. It's not like one big final contest at the very end and then that's it.
yeah, yeah, I know yeah, I mean, like, yes, it is different, but at the same time, Ozzy is Ozzy.
Yeah,
Tyson, however, Tyson, however, like, one being at the bottom of an alliance right from the get-go because of pre-existing relationships, and then being the only one left in the game um, that was old school after returning back, getting voted off because of a misplaced idol, winning his way back a second time against a much bigger pool than Ozzy had to face. Now, granted, winning all those individual challenges is a good feat, but if we're talking 14 people aiming to get back in the game, it is extremely difficult if those are your odds, especially since people on the island might have more fire tokens than you, things like that. And then
I'm
coming
just
back,
I would bet like $1,000 that this season is not won by a returnee. I would be willing to bet that much money because I know for a fact that that's not going to happen this season.
that's
Yeah, it's just I wouldn't vote for a returnee. Even if the even I would have voted in that final three of Edge of Extinction. I vote for Gavin in that.
honestly, I would have too. Um,
And that's the thing is that is I think the mentality of a lot of fans and players of the game. Whereas Edge of Extinction, they were like, well, we liked Chris because we got to hang out with him. That's what happened with that, really. Because and like he played a good game for the last few days, which made them feel that hey, we can justify this now. But at the end of the day, it's still just like he just did jury management the entire time there, and that's how he won.
fair enough. I guess it's also, I mean, it also depends on who is at the end, though.
Hmm.
Because if we're talking, let's say let's say it's Tyson and Nick and who else? Let's say trying to we'll go Michelle.
So basically, you're trying to choose the two worst people that make it to the end with him.
Well, I mean,
Because that's not going to happen. Because I think he probably beats those two. I don't know if he beats anyone else though. So he would need literally the perfect like roll of the dice to make it there. And like because I think Denise beats him. I think that's Jeremy definitely beats him. Jeremy beats anyone out there.
if
Tony
Jeremy,
beats him.
yeah, if Jeremy makes it to the end, I feel like he will win this game
Yeah.
because, um, granted, he kind of burned some bridges. Granted, it didn't necessarily matter that much anyway because of the steal vote.
Mhm.
Um, if anything, I feel like their target would have been more. Well, no, I don't think. I still feel like their bigger target would be Jeremy. They would aim for Jeremy, but I feel like he would also be the person most
Yeah.
likely to get an idol played for
Yeah.
as
Well,
well.
remember once Jeremy played the Safety Without Power, that's when the groups split up because and that is just a sign I feel like that Jeremy was the plan because they were just about to vote and
Yeah,
they were like, "Okay, wait a second. Things changed." So, I do think that he was the vote tonight.
yeah.
Um but yeah, no, it's I can't fault him. Like I would have done the same thing if I was in his position.
I mean, yeah, like I said, he's one of the biggest threats out there,
Yeah.
especially if he's, at the bottom of, or like, I don't know. Are there like really such a thing as defined alliances here? Because
There
how,
are voting blobs.
yeah,
There
I,
are
I would
people
say
that
blob.
vote somewhat together, but there it's like a amalgamation of what their form is.
Because Tyson, if I'm Tyson, like, because Tony, like last episode, it was like, get out the hyenas, get out the hyenas.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Exactly. Huh? Huh? What the
Like,
fuck?
yeah,
Um,
it's very baffling that Tony just pulled a 180 on his entire plan. I think that just comes from Jeremy wanting to target either Sarah or Sophie, and Tony putting his foot down.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, I feel, and I, like when he was saying like Sophie, I was like, that's probably the right choice. She has been doing a pretty good social game and
Hmm.
being a bit of a sleeper threat. Um, so she would have been a good person to take out. Also, splitting up a duo. Also, splitting up a duo that one of your closest allies are with.
Hmm.
I mean, it just
Yeah, you
benefits
got
you.
to imagine Sophie doesn't have Tony in her final three plans.
No, no.
I think she could have Sarah. I think Sophie could want
I
to get to
think
the end with
Sarah
Sarah.
definitely,
Yeah.
because I feel either one of them. I mean, I guess
I
it's
I
hard to
I I
say.
could I could see maybe dropping Sarah at Final Four, but I feel like that there's a very good chance of wanting her. She wants them at least be a Final Four.
Yeah,
And
I
then
guess.
like Tony probably if I had to guess, Sophie wants to get rid of Tony at like Final Six or Seven.
Yeah, honestly, I
Because
feel like might be sooner.
really,
Tony
I,
is.
the thing is, Tony is great for a lot of people in the game right now. Like he is like
Sure.
the name.
When you are the name, you become the target.
Yeah, and that's why Tony's gonna find an idol next episode. Marking my words.
Mark your words.
Yeah,
There been? I don't think. Has everyone played their idol already? I don't
Sophie
think
still has hers.
he hasn't.
Yeah, but I mean, there was an idol play, so there's a chance that one is going to happen is going to reappear at the camp.
Yeah, and seeing how also we used people used two advantages last episode as well.
Hmm.
That happens in
Yeah,
all these fire tokens, and Tony has quite a few fire tokens
yeah,
now.
he's up to three now, and I honestly thought Tony would never get more than one fire token in this game, because I was like, who's going to give Tony fire tokens? And he wins an immunity and gets some, so good for him. First individual immunity in his Survivor career.
Well, I mean, with game changers, it was pretty hard for him to
Yeah, but
get.
hey, in Kagion, like he was one of the Brawn. You think that he would have won like one,
Yeah,
but then when you
yeah,
think of it, he was with Spencer and Wu, and even Tasha was pretty good at immunity too. Like those three just like won all the challenges.
yeah. They were pretty.
Well, even
Yeah, that
Cass won in immunity, I believe.
it's been a long time since
Yeah.
I've seen Kagayan, but
Yeah. I,
I
I
mean,
I remember the only challenge, the Tony won one reward challenge, and it was the one where he had to cover his body in mud and trudge along like an obstacle course and then put it into a bucket.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and so the thing that was his only other challenge win up to this point, which represented that crazy, this is crazy Tony. Look at him putting mud on his bald head. To then this challenge where he was a patient survivor player.
Survivor is a crazy game.
Yeah.
So next time, oh well, before we get on to the next time of Survivor, well, we still have two things. Well, first, I did think it was nice to see like the jury give Jeff a hug because
Same.
they didn't have to be like, oh, here's your family for the people on edge of extinction. Like
Hmm.
they didn't have to do that, but
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think anyone was expecting that to happen.
no. Um,
Um,
though it was nice. It did add to the runtime of well, it didn't add to the runtime. It did eat up a lot of this episode.
Yeah.
But it was a nice thing of like showing like support and gratitude.
Yeah.
So that was a nice little moment for it to end on. All right, so MVP and worst player. Um, MVP, I have to say, probably going to be Tony.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too.
Yeah, we agreed on one for one,
I know, right?
and
Well, the thing is, with these, we either completely agree or we completely disagree.
well, I mean, we technically agreed-ish, but yours was like a little bit later on, where
Yeah.
I was like, Tyson wins because he found the token and bought peanut butter, and then you're like,
Yeah.
a couple weeks later, I'm giving it to Tyson for setting a trend of buying peanut butter. Uh,
Yep.
uh, so, worst player.
Worst player, I would probably have to give it to Kim.
Yeah,
Um, just for the I like so at least
I don't
so,
misplay.
and the thing is, I think Tyson's a bigger ally to her than Denise.
I mean, yeah.
So
I mean,
and like
fuck. That's why.
yeah,
That's why they were targeted the very first time they went
yeah.
to Tribal to begin with.
Yeah, so I think just for her play, it would have been better for Tyson to be around for at least another vote.
Also, it was a thing of like. Also, it was a very very psychological thing
Yeah.
because it's kind of like a manipulation of perception. Like I said earlier, they made it seem like she was a target because they took her vote away.
Hmm.
So that makes it, like so like
Yeah.
subliminally they're like Denise, Denise, Denise. But I get where what she wanted to do, where it was like guess right and then get one of theirs voted off. But
Hmm.
at the same time, you misplayed the idol.
Yeah.
And you got
Yeah,
my
cause yeah, if she played it correctly, even if one of her alliance members go home, like you can't fault her because she did play it correctly. She didn't play it correctly, um, and she was kind of just that out of the loop. Like, I don't think she really talked to a lot of the other people from the other side and try to get in with them. And I think that kind of just cost her here.
I mean maybe she did. We don't
Yeah, yeah, true. We don't know. Survivor, you really need to give us some more time if you want to make 40 minutes of your episode go to loved ones.
yeah,
Uh,
well I mean because I watch mine on like CBS.com when it after
uh,
it airs, but like it was like the first half of the episode was dedicated to it with
yeah, it's still like 30 minutes of content before you get to the game.
yeah. Um, but hopefully we got through that. So we will see what it does, how things will be with the next episode, and moving forward.
Mhm.
And who knows? Because all right, there's 9 now. There may be 3 or 4 more episodes until finale time and that's if one of them is a double elimination.
Mhm.
They didn't advertise that. They didn't. Next time on Survivor, it doesn't say that it was a double elimination one. But hell, they didn't even say that this one was going to be a loved one episode. Um,
I think they did. I think I remember seeing something about the loved ones.
Let me check my notes. No, I feel like they made it very,
Because I think
very.
I think I think I meant to say something the last time we recorded, but I forgot to bring that up about the loved ones.
Maybe, huh.
Yeah, it was heavily hinted at. It was like Jeff being like, you gotta remember who you're fighting for, and then it cut to next time on Survivor.
Uh, who knows? Usually I
Yeah.
write it down or
Hmm.
I don't know. But yeah. Um, but there is only so many more episodes left. We're talking three
Yeah.
or four, and then finale, and then whatever they're going to do for the reunion, whether or not they're going to delay it like they did with Walking Dead.
Or they're
Yeah,
going to do it all through Zoom.
I wouldn't mind a Zoom finale. Like,
Yeah.
it would be admittedly, it would be kind of like weird in the sense of like, like all these people, on just like a Brady Bunch setting.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what they would probably do is they would pre-record it like a few hours beforehand and stuff, and just have all like people come at certain times, like join whatever on certain times, um, and then have maybe like a little segment where everyone is there at once.
I mean, at that point, why even do it live?
Yeah.
Um, I feel part of it is because my one complaint about the Survivor reunion show is that it's mostly commercials.
Yeah.
Like it's well, because like I say, I will usually watch it these days on CBS after the fact.
Mhm.
But like when it's a 20-minute length and it's for like, something that's scheduled for like to be an hour-long thing, you can't help but like, wow. And I even remember back when I did watch these live, it being
Mhm.
kind of a deal where it's like, so many commercials and then we don't really get to meet.
Yeah. It doesn't give you big incentives on staying and watching the whole thing. Like you only stay if you're really like, wow, this I really liked like everyone out there.
I mean, I always watch the finale or like the reunion show no matter what. I will say earlier seasons it was a little harder than others.
Mm.
I would say the Rosie O'Donnell one was kind of a little for me. Um, no,
Yeah. I mean, it's
nothing.
great now that Sia's just giving out money. Like
Yeah,
that's great. Good for Sia.
I mean, see ya. Just give it. So I was so on a side note, I was watching an interview for like people with Jeff Probst being interviewed by Andrea. Um, and she was talking about, like Celebrity Survivor, if that would ever be a thing.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, it'd be a cool thing, but everyone with their schedules because, they
Yeah.
were like, oh, I can't really commit 39 days. I can't really commit 39 days. And I'm like, yeah, kind of sounds, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
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 Hell, that's why these days I'm like still hesitant to actually send in my audition tape because that is like more than a month being away from like the business and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It is, in the entertainment industry, you have to kind of be constantly going, and you can't just kind of like take some time off to go live on a deserted island with a bunch of
Now,
other celebrities. And like
what is
the celebrities that they could get, like, would you want to see B-list celebrities out there? No, like we would rather just have normal Survivor at that point.
yeah, and I feel like part of the appeal of Survivor is like it is like kind of like everyday people. Granted, you see people that either A live in Los Angeles or B they kind of do have like a online presence or maybe something
Hmm.
like that. Or they're kind of like Boston Rob, where he kind of dabbles on reality shows every so often. Um,
But how great would it be if Jimmy Fallon and Neil Patrick Harris were out there playing Survivor?
that'd be fun. I would love to
Because
see.
they're both big Survivor fans, so that would be hilarious.
That'd be funny. Who would I? All right, if you could choose any celebrity to be on Survivor, who would you choose besides yourself?
Uh, I would choose Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Yeah, stand-up comedian. That'd be great
I know where
television.
you're talking. F is for family, just for
Yeah,
family.
yeah. Gosh, imagine him being out there playing Survivor. He would hate it so much, and he would let everyone know.
I would know who I would love to see.
Who?
Just Trump. I would love to see Trump on Survivor.
Trump? Oh my gosh.
Just
he would quit on day one.
I don't know. I feel like it would be hilarious even if even if he was the first person voted out. I
Uh-huh.
feel like it would be
He
just
would,
like,
right? Like if because in terms of celebrities, they're usually leaning more liberal. So
yeah,
unless you got like the right selection of celebrities that are very right wing, he's like guaranteed to be the first one out.
yeah. Uh, just like especially how memey the man is, and how also it would be funny just to see a president on Survivor.
Yeah, true, true.
But
Uh,
all right, well,
we
I
we
don't
can
know
dream.
how
We can dream.
we can dream. That's all we can do. Like Tyson getting back in this game.
Hmm.
I can dream it. But hey,
Yeah,
he did it once. Um,
yeah, true.
I am I am surprised we were able to still talk so much about an episode that had so little.
Yeah, I mean, like there's still stuff to go on here. It's not good stuff. Like it's just like, oh, it was sad. It was a little sad when Jeremy's family came out. I was like, oh, that's his family. That's the reason he's doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's like because usually like it, but this time around it was just way too much.
Too much.
And I enjoyed
Yeah,
Tyson's little,
yeah,
yeah, like him seeing him as a dad and seeing him in that dynamic.
yeah.
That was great.
Rachel
But
like didn't want to give him a hug, which was kind of awkward. She was just like, "Oh no, I just like seeing him, do this."
why was there only one kid?
I
They
know,
never
right?
really,
Because okay, I remember Tyson was like, his whole thing was he wanted his two daughters out there. And
yeah.
he only got one, and I was like, "What?"
I
Like I was
was
waiting for like a really sad like thing for like shit. Rachel's gonna say like, "Oh, something happened to your daughter," and I was gonna be like, "No."
maybe the daughter did something to get in trouble and was like, all right, you know what? You're not going to be on TV
Gosh, that's got to be
now.
one hell of a thing that kid did. Because that's
uh,
that's not just on her. That like affects Tyson.
oh yeah, but I guess, yeah, but it is something where we all wondered where was his other daughter, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be like an interview or something that kind of addresses it. But
Hmm.
for the time being,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we pretty much covered everything that we can on this episode.
and then some.
Yeah. Okay. Well, catch you guys on the next episode of the Day After podcast.
Peace out.